Good morning, good morning, good morning, tax lien investors out there and those who want to find out more about tax lien investing. This is your tax lien investing tip for today. It is Wednesday morning, December 7th, and not yesterday. Yesterday we did Ask the Tax Lien Lady Live. Monday, I talked about going from scarcity to abundance, and how our mission in this company in TaxLienLady.com is to take investors from a mindset of scarcity to one of financial abundance, and how my strategy for doing that, what my strategy for doing that is. I kind of shared my story a little bit on Monday. But my strategy for moving out of a mindset of scarcity into one of financial abundance, the strategy, of course, that I've used all these years is investing in tax liens and tax deeds, mostly in my case, tax liens. And for my clients, and I've had clients that have invested in tax liens, tax deeds, and redeemable deeds. But as I mentioned in Monday's tip, investing your money and managing money are two different things. And if you're investing your money, you need to have money to invest. So what do you do if you're in debt, if you don't have money to invest, or you have under, let's say, $20,000 to invest, and you want to invest more money in tax liens so that you can make more money? One thing that I found, and I also mentioned this on Monday, that I've had the opportunity over the years of being, known in tax lien investing, of being able to interview financial experts from around the country. And one thing that I realized is that there's something called an infinite banking policy. And this is something that I only found out about maybe in the last 7 years. And I actually started a policy for myself, but when things got tough, when my husband was out of work and then COVID hit, actually before COVID, this happened before COVID hit, we couldn't keep up the payments, or I couldn't keep up the payments on my policy, so I let it go. And that was before I knew everything that I know now. I guess it took me a while for everything to sink in about the beauty of these policies and how good they really are, because it's a way where you can invest your money twice. You could save money. So you could put money into this policy, and now part of the money that you're paying is buying your life insurance. I guess I didn't have enough coffee this morning. All right, so you're buying a whole life insurance policy. You're buying your life insurance, but it's also part of the money that you invest every month is going into a cash value that is making interest and dividends. And here's the thing, it's guaranteed. So if whatever it is invested in, if that loses money, you still make, there's a floor that they still pay you regardless. Okay, so and in my case, in the policy that I have, that's 5%. All right. Now, of course, there's also a cap, because if they're giving you a floor, there's also a cap. So if what they're investing in goes crazy and makes 25%, you're capped at 12%. But what that means is that you're going to make at least 5%, even if the investment loses money. All right, it's guaranteed. And this is from an insurance company. Now, if you know anything about insurance companies, first of all, the companies who write these policies have been around for over 100 years. Some of them have been around for, close to 200 years, and they've been through the major depression, the Great Depression. They've been through world wars and have still paid. Okay, have still paid dividends, still paid interest rates. Okay, they've been around for a long time. Insurance companies are the wealthiest companies out there. I mean, they own a lot of real estate. They are invested in major investments. They own a lot and they have a lot of wealth. So this is, in my opinion, it's the best way to save your money, and it is my strategy for two things: paying off debt and saving money to invest, because you can get your money invested twice. Now, some financial experts will tell you to pay off your debt first before you save money. But here's the problem with doing that. Let's say you pay your debt off in 3 years and you're not putting any money into savings, but you just keep paying your debt off. 3 years, you're debt free, and you don't have any money in the bank. All right. So that really doesn't help you, because you're still in the position that you were when you got into debt in the first place. In other words, if your car breaks down, if somebody needs to go to the hospital and you have hospital bills to pay, how are you going to pay for that? You're going to use your credit cards again, right? And get into debt again. But if you save your money, and here's the beauty of using one of these policies to save money, is that, let's say something like that does happen. Well, you can borrow, in my case, in the plan that I have, I can borrow 90% of what's in my cash value, and I can pay those bills. So if I get my car breaks down and I need to fix my car and I can't pay that, I can borrow from there to pay it. And you could pay it back, right? But you don't have to pay it back. What happens if you don't pay it back? It will come out of your death benefit when you die. I mean, the best thing to do is pay it back, but it's still earning while you're borrowing it. You're not actually borrowing your cash value. You're using that as collateral to borrow the insurance company's money. That money is still making interest and dividends. Now, you're paying them a small amount of interest to use that money, but it's making more than you're paying them. You're still making money on that money. And here's the thing: if you use it to invest in tax liens, you're making money on it twice. You're making the interest that you're making on the tax liens that you have invested in, and the dividends and the interest on that money that you have in your policy. So I know it's a hard thing to wrap your head around. I had to hear about it a few times before I finally understood it. So I did a webinar with an expert on this. His name is Urshel Metcalf. And if you're interested in finding out more about the infinite banking policy, then reach out to me at info@TaxLienLady.com, and I will send you that webinar that we did. This was one of our wealth building webinars that people pay $49 a month to have access to. But I'll give you access to the webinar. All you have to do is ask me. And then after finding out more about it, if you think this is something that you want to do and you want to talk to me about it, because here's what I did when I found out the beauty of these policies, and I was kicking myself in the butt for not keeping the first policy that I had. I got a license to sell these policies. And the first thing I did is write my own policy. And I did that earlier this year. So I now have one of these policies. It's building a cash value, and I'm very conservative with the money that I put into it. But I had to, it's something that I really wanted to do for another reason, is my life insurance. I had term life insurance, because, the experts tell you, you don't have to pay all that money for a whole life policy. Just get a term policy and then invest the rest. Well, who does that? Some people do. My hat goes off to you if you actually follow that advice. But I meant to follow that advice. But what happened is I kept having things come up. So instead of actually saving the money, I would invest in a very low cost term policy that gave me the insurance I wanted. And of course, you don't get anything for that. It only pays for your death benefit. It doesn't pay for anything else. But the money that that I should have used to invest, I didn't. All right, because unless you're forced to do it, a lot of people don't do it, and I'm one of those people. True confessions. Okay. So thank you for being here early in the morning and watching this. Let me know, is this helpful to you? Put it in the comments. Let me know if this information is helpful to you. And again, if you'd like to find out more, send me an email at info, info at TaxLienLady.com. And that's TaxLienLady.com. All right, and that is your tip for today, and I will see you tomorrow with more ways to go from financial scarcity to financial abundance. Because once you start saving that money and once you have at least $20,000 to invest, hey, what do you want to invest it in? So that you don't have to worry about the stock market. You don't have to worry about the stock market, what the stock market does. And you don't have the typical problems with real estate investing. And of course, you guys know I'm the tax lien lady, so that's tax liens, right? So we'll talk about how you can get involved in tax liens tomorrow morning and how you can get me to help you with that. All right. All right, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful Wednesday.